Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unfiltered Pages. And in today's episode, Why'd you do that face every time?
She was waiting for the intro.
Yeah. I'm not doing the intro anymore. It annoys even me. Like, I listen to it, I'm like, oh my God, will that bitch shut up? And today, we're going to be talking about books, but we're going to be talking about before they actually become a book, and more on how you write a book and the publishing process. Bearing in mind, can we all just say, before anyone comes for us, we are not published people. We are not agencies. We are not authors yet. But we just want to share some advice with you. I'm currently in the process of writing a book and sending it off to agents. I'll go through that process when I get asked the question. But I'm currently in that process, and these two they want to. And when I'm published anyway, you'll come to my agency. Like, you'll just come to my agency. I'll sort you.
That's cute. Fucking us up there.
So, without further ado, am I going to look silly from my hood up?
So basically, we're interviewing Abbey. Basically.
Yeah. This is my moment to shine, guys.
Right, who wants to ask first?
Take it off, love.
Gracias.
Fire away, love.
Right, when did you first realise that you wanted to be a writer?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I don't know if I want to admit this. I'm going to see whether I'm going to cut this out or not. When I was younger, I don't know if I've told you both this, I wrote a Wattpad and it went like big.
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
Shut up.
I'm not kidding. I wrote a Wattpad and it was on like 125k views, which I know isn't a lot when you put it into perspective, but when I was like 14, I had people writing on my timeline like, please update, may I just say.
That's so cute.
Yeah. So I always knew from when I was young anyway. I used to, when I was at school, so like primary school, I used to sell like pages of books for like 50p. People used to buy them in my class and they could read them. I started reading Twilight, and then all of a sudden I was obsessed with like writing and reading. And then I wrote my Wattpad thinking of like nothing of it, and then it just blew up. And then I kind of got like a little bit of, oh, I really want to write from that. And then the idea, it was a weird one. I've never told you this. My idea originally, basically the premise of my story is there's two twins, and in the midst of everything that's going on with them, there's a lot of secrets. There's enemies to lovers, which we all love. There's a lot of funny little stories. There's a lot of trauma dumping. And then there's also the fact of a fae hunter, which I've never seen in a fantasy book before, and I'm fucking copywriting that. If anyone, after I've published, it takes that, just know I'm coming for you. And my sister, Zia, came to me one day in the morning and she said, oh, I had a really weird dream last night and you was in it. And you was like one of them fae things. And this guy had a list and your name was on it and he was hunting you down.
Oh.
And I was like, is he human? And she was like, yeah, but you weren't. And I was like, Zia, you've literally just come up with a book idea. And that's where Zion came from. Bearing in mind, my sister's called Zia.
Oh my God!
So Zion, yeah. So that's where the name Zion came from. Yeah, because she made that character, so she deserves that.
Does she know that he's named after her?
No.
I don't know if I can look at him the same now.
We were like, that's such a Zia trait. God's sake.
She fancies him.
I do.
Bad
Bad
bitch.
She's been flirting with your sister, so it does work out. Yeah.
But yeah, I've been wanting to write since I was really young. And then that idea, my sister gave me that idea, and then I kind of just ran with it. Like, it's not a process where everything just comes to you at once. And if you are that lucky that it all just comes to you at once, then bravo. Because sometimes you write the book and then other ideas come and you're like, fuck, I wish I'd have wrote that in, and then you've got to rewrite it, which is exactly what I did. But we'll get onto that in a little bit. That was a good first question.
That was
You're
pretty
welcome.
good.
Yeah.
Shanaide, you can ask the next one, my love.
What made you want to write fantasy over other genres?
Okay, that's a good question.
Okay.
So I don't know. You two are gonna get to know me in this because I feel like half of this shit. So when I was really young, like 7 or 8, some people would call this abuse. My mum used to watch like a lot of fantasy stuff, like vampire stuff, and I'm on about like Blade. I'm not on about like the nice little vampire stuff that's out. I'm on about Blade. I'm on about Dracula. Like, I was young on that shit, and I loved it ever since I was really young. And then I really got into Twilight. I was like 11 when Twilight came out. In the back of my head, all I can hear is ah ha ha ha. And Spider Monkey. And I know, ew. So I read them books. And then I just became obsessed with fantasy. And I think it's my escapism. Like, I don't want a world where I can live in it that's boring. I want something that's so out there that when I'm reading it, I can't think of anything else because my thoughts are so worked up on what they're doing and the stuff going on in their world. I feel like that's just my vibe. Maybe dark romance is the route that I will go down eventually, though. I like the idea of that. Yeah, but yeah, fantasy is like my top one. It's just an escapism. Like even when I'm writing, like from especially Nola's point of view, that's my favourite because I see so much of me in her that when I'm writing, I feel like I'm living in that world rather than this one.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Right. How do you handle writer's block?
Oh, that is a good question. That's a fucking good question. Aimee. Well, this, I fear, is a process you just have to go through, okay? And the way I go through writer's block is watching films, and I either go down the route of only watching fantasy films or not watching a single fantasy film, not reading a single fantasy book, or reading only fantasy. Now, normally I will just read fantasy. Like Caravel. At that time when I was reading Caravel, I was in such a writer's block. And reading Caravel, like, her writing style is stunning. And it really helped me. But I feel like I don't want people to think no one gets writer's block. Like, everybody gets writer's block. You get to a point where you're writing and you think, fuck, like, that doesn't sound anything like I would write. And I just feel like people think, oh, you just write a book out, like in Fourth Wing, how she wrote that out in 2.5 months. Like, that's not a normal writing process. If that's normal to you, that's fine. But I've been working on this for years. It's not simple. And I literally went back, like, 2-3 months ago and was like, I want to add something else. Like, it's not that easy. And when I did that, I got writer's block again. But I feel like everyone has different methods. Like, I have to have a solid weekend of being on my own, not speaking to anyone, and taking some time out. And I feel like you have to take time away. Like, don't feel like you have to sit there and even write a whole chapter. Like, if you write a page, well done, because some people can't even write a few lines. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think you should be proud if you've even written 2 pages of anything, because you might think it's shit, but it's a start. And I think people don't think that. Like, Shanaide is a prime example of this. Like, she sent me some work and it's so fucking good. But she's panicked because she's like, well, I can't think of anything else right now. And I'm like, but that's how a story starts. Like, you don't just think it all up straight away. It's not that easy. She literally is sat here, like, she's looking at me like, blushing, like, oh my God.
She's like, you just named me.
Yeah, she loves it. But yeah, that you should be really proud, because even writing 2 pages, same with you, Ames, like writing fucking 2 pages and getting that out there and thinking, wow, you've created a character, you've put it on paper, and you're starting somewhere. Everyone has to start somewhere. I feel like people really do give up with shit like this. Like, don't get knocked down just because you're having writer's block. Take some time away. Do not try and write when you've got writer's block, because it will just fuck you over, and you will write and you will hate it, and you will go back and you will hate it. And I know that Shanaide is smiling right now because she has done that exact thing. Everyone does it. Yeah, everyone does it. Take some time out. There's no rush. There is literal no rush. If it's meant to be put into the universe, it will get put out.
I don't think it's talked about how complex it is, though, either.
No, it's not.
Like, how much you have to do before you start writing the book.
Yeah, and some people just write it. Like, honestly, when I first started it, I created a synopsis. So your synopsis is what your book's actually about. And I just wrote out the basics of the basics that you need is the start and the end, what you want to happen at the end. All the middle bits, they change. You can change them. You can kill people. You can add people in. Like, that just rolls. But your start and your end, they need to be there. And they can change, but you need them. Otherwise, what are you writing about? Like, you've got no ending to get to. You've got no start. You've got no end. You've got no middle, because you can't get to the middle of the story and then get to the conclusion of it. Like, unless you have them two important parts, there's no point. And then character building, that is so important, because you've got, I think, get your main characters, even if you only have 2. Like, I have like 4, maybe even 6, something like that. And I got their backstories and why they are the way they are, and work with that. So, like, I love a complex character. I want someone who is moody, and I don't know why. And I'm going to find out why. And then I'm going to be like, shit, they deserve to be like that. And I think if you get your characters together and how they are, I never plan dialogue. Like, dialogue just comes to me when I'm writing. The only thing I plan is the chapters, because I feel like it gives me a little bit of an inkling. It's like these podcasts. If we don't plan them, they don't go right. You watch them back and you don't enjoy it, because it's just not us. It's the same with writing. If you plan the chapter, but then you have time to be able to put in the dialogue yourself, then it's so much better, because I'm sat there laughing at I'm flirting with myself, and I'm like, girl, the riz you have, that is so good.
What the fuck you go American for?
I don't know, I always do that.
Do you have a favourite character, and why?
Well, it used to be Quentin, because I see a lot of me in him. Well, my old me, like a lot of resentment, a lot of like trying to take a step back from things even though you don't want to, falling for the wrong person, and then denying it, because we know he does that. But now I think my favourite character, who you both kind of haven't met, is Taylin.
I knew you were.
Yeah, he's got my heart. Like, he's the man. I hate men, and honestly, that man, he asks for permission when he touches people. He's so respectful. If you ever need him, he's your ride or die. He's right there.
Oh,
And when you meet him, you'll love him. And he just swears, like, he's so off the bat. Like, the first thing he says is like, fuck. Like, it's just so off the bat. It's my favourite thing. Oh, if I had to pick one of the girls, it would be Nola, because I wrote Mila and Nola based off your heart and your brain, because the two do totally different things in your head. And to have that outside shows you 2 different perspectives of what it would be like if you picked either path.
Oh, okay.
Which is crazy, because so Nola's obviously your heart, because
Is
you just
she?
yeah, of course she is, because she's just going for what she wants. She doesn't, all she cares about at the beginning is Mila, and she will get Mila whatever she wants and will look after Mila. She'll protect Mila no matter what. She literally went right into danger to protect Mila, whereas Mila really thinks about things before she does them. Like, she's not gonna fall for Quentin. Like, she's gonna take a step back and be like, he's a
She is fucking not.
Yes, she is. Listen, yes, she is. And Nola is like she just head over heels straight away, and she will just do whatever, which you find out in the cave scene just now. That sounds like serpent, but yeah, you'll find out she just does what she wants. Like, she don't give a fuck. She got no fucks to give. She walks straight into a witch coven, but we won't talk about it yet. She got no fucks to give. Yeah, that's to be continued for you. And whether you Mila or Nola, I feel like this is what I mean. Like, when you're planning it, I really put myself into both of them because it's two different personality traits, and I feel like you connect with both, but on different levels, and that's the purpose. Because in your head, you're thinking what Nola is doing, but in your heart, you're like, no, I need to do the right thing, and then you're thinking what Mila is doing. Yeah. So like, it's just two totally different perspectives, which you think, fuck, I'd do both of them. I don't know what, because you don't know until you face with the situation, and you sure as shit gonna see. But Nola has a long path ahead of her because that bitch don't give a fuck. She got things to say, and she's saying them.
I love that.
Yeah, as you should. I love a strong feminine character. That's my favourite thing. That I can't live without a strong female character. Because what's the fucking point?
I love when they're sassy.
Sassy is the best. Like Aileen.
Yeah,
that's my favourite.
Yeah, she's a 10/10 character, Aileen.
Yeah, she is.
Is there anything that you've like learned about yourself while you're writing your books?
Yes, that is you coming out with these good questions. I feel like you two are like really seeing a different side to me when I talk about this. I can just see it the way Shanaide's looking at me. She's like falling in love. I don't mind. How much I have grown, because I used to love Quentin, and now I think, wow, what a resentful person. And when I put myself in the character's shoes, you what's the word that I'm looking for? Like, characters that do them wrong, you get really worked up about. And I've, in my own life, like these two, I would kill someone and bury the body without a question. Like, they would just tell me where it is, I would bury it. But for myself, it would be a different story. But when I'm writing Mila and Nola, which is literally a part of me, I'd do anything for them. And I think that's made me make boundaries in real life. Yeah. And I think that is why, because when you put in someone else's shoes, you can see it from the outside. Because there's a massive thing of, another thing it's made me realise, you will never see yourself how someone else sees you.
No, that's true.
Which is I think I'm so like weak as a person and whatever, whereas you two think I'm so strong-willed and really good for writing a book and stuff like that. Like, it's so hard for someone else to see you how you see you. Like, it's crazy. Like, if I turn around to you two and was like, oh my God, I hate everything I've done, like, I'm so uncreative, I can't do anything, you two would be like, are you fucking stupid?
Let's shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And I'm the same with you two. Yeah, I'm the same with you two, and it's so hard to see someone else from that perspective. And I think that's something I've really seen when writing as well. Because when I'm in the mindset of the character, I'm them. But when I'm outside and I can see how fucking cool and brave they are, like, it's such a weird feeling. It's such a weird feeling. But
no, you've definitely come a long way, though. I've definitely noticed it from when we all started talking and you were having certain issues that we won't go into on here, to how you deal with them now and how you are. I'm very proud of you.
I was literally about to say, I'm sat here smiling because I'm so proud of the boundaries that she's put up.
I'm literally in love with both of you. Guys, if you don't like us liking each other, don't watch this podcast. I can't take compliments.
Lifetime.
Yeah.
This girl had a serious problem with boundaries.
I really did. Honestly, if I could tell you all the shit that I've put up with this year, you would smack me across the face and I would let you. I would offer you both cheeks. Yeah. And these two have gone mad at me. But here we are. Boundaries up. And all I have to say to you all is make them boundaries. Don't fucking feel bad for making them.
No, never feel bad for making them.
How did you find your writing style? And could you tell us different styles that are out there?
Oh,
okay. Okay, good question.
Making her think.
Yeah, so
I didn't know until she told me. Like,
Yeah.
I was baffled.
well,
I'd never heard of hers.
YMU Literary taught me that. So they're an agency. I'll talk about that. Oh, okay. I'll talk about that world in a sec. There's a few styles of writing, but the two main ones that everyone do are literary and I can't remember what the other one's called, but it's simple writing form. So, like, only way I can do it is give an example. So, Fourth Wing is very simple. Everyone can read that book. That book is accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
Whereas literary is like complex writing. So, for example, Sarah J. Maas is probably more complex writing. Or if you want to go old school, Wuthering Heights is very complex writing, and Frankenstein as well. So, when you do a literary writing style, you catering to a certain audience. So, you're more adult wise, because otherwise, someone reading that like younger is not going to understand half the things you're saying. So when you describe things, they make things a lot more complicated in what they're saying, or everything's a lot more complex. Not character wise, but settings wise, and maybe even the fantasy world of it can be really complex. Whereas if you do a simple writing style, you're catering to everyone, and I mean everyone, including people who are autistic, people who are dyslexic, everyone, because you want everyone to be able to read your writing style. I mean, that's more YA fiction, but I think there's quite a gap between YA and adult fiction, don't you think? Because YA fiction, some of it is so childish. I hate it.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of adult, I'm like Lord of the Rings is adult and it's fucking boring. And it's not, who understands Lord of the Rings? Like, nobody understands it when you read it. It's just,
I never read it.
No,
yeah,
I
it's so
haven't.
hard to read. And when I was at school, I was always, do you know what? Miss Eubank, I'm coming for you, because when I was at school, I got told that I was average at everything, like even reading, like, oh, she's really average. She can't read a full book. She can't do this. She can't do that. She's okay at English. Well, let me just sit you down right now, because if you're not sat down, Miss Eubank, sit down. I have an English degree.
She does.
I got my
really,
degree.
really wish that you had your book printed out to pull out and say, I wrote a book.
Yeah, let alone read it.
Like,
And
yeah.
since you got your degree and you know
Since you got your
fucking
degree.
everything.
Or you should just pull your degree out and be like, I got my degree.
And what? But yeah, that's a lesson to not let anyone fucking tell you that you can't do it. Because you can. No matter where you come from, your background, nothing. That's on that.
Love that.
But yeah. There's that writing style. My writing style came from... So it started off very Sarah J. Maas-like. And then I read Fourth Wing. And I read Caravel. And I read Once Upon a Broken Heart. And I honestly, if my writing ever got compared to Stephanie Garber, I'd probably cry happy tears, because everything she writes is just so well. Like, you just understand what she's doing. Like, every facial expression, I can just see Jax doing every facial expression. I can see it. I can see Legend's facial expressions. Like, I can see everything. Her writing is for everyone. And although not everyone may read it, it's made for everyone. And I think it takes a lot for an author to go out there and make it simple, because a lot of people can be like, well, it's really simple, it's shit, like it's not based for adults. So fucking what? Who wants to make the writing style that complicated that people like our age and younger can't read it? Boring. Oh,
How do you find time to write?
oh. Aimee, where are these questions coming from? These are such good questions. Let's get you on some I nearly said book podcast, as like you're literally not on an author thing where they ask the authors questions, because honestly, I only write when I'm in the creative mindset. And if you're writing, you'll understand, like, when you're so tired and you can't do it, do not do it. You're just going to waste time. You're going to write it and delete it. And when you feel like creative spark, you need to drop everything and do it. And I mean that. Like, I drop everything to do it. Everything. Because I could be going out on the weekend, and if I have that in mind, like, you best believe I'm fitting 2 hours in to do that no matter what. I'll do my makeup at the same time as writing it, because it's happening. Because it's hard as well, because I'm very connected to music as a person. I know not everyone is, which really shocks me. But when I write, I have to listen to music. I can't be in silence. I have to listen to music. And I have a certain playlist as well that I have to listen to. I can't listen to anything else.
Okay.
So I put my big headphones on and I'll sit there with my creative brain and I'll either write or plan, one or the other. Normally just write because I'm so, not indecisive, but like it just needs to happen at that time. My creative mind is there, let's go. And I just write it out and then rewrite it if needs be.
Where do you find your character inspirations in terms of like personality and traits? Like, do you draw on people you've met in your life?
That is such a good question. Guys, yes, I do. I don't know how far I'm going to go with this, but so a lot of the characters that fuck people over, they are all people from my life. And do you know what's funny is Aimee touched on a certain character in my book and was like, I fucking hate him. I don't know why I hate him. I just really hate him. And I feel like certain, I don't know what happened there. I was like, see ya. Certain characters you put more into without realising, and other people can see it, and you have to be very aware of that, because one of my characters who basically steals the twins and makes them trapped is someone who was in my life, isn't anymore, but someone who was in my life who made me feel like that. And I think Aimee really, like, she messaged me like, I fucking hate him. She was like, I can't stand him, he's pissing me off. And like, I just thought, and like, Shanaide touched on the scene and she was like, oh my god, he's literally like strangling them. Like, is he okay? That's their fucking dad. And I was like, yeah, that is someone from my life. And when I'm writing it out, I feel like it lets a lot of, not trauma out, but like emotion out. And I just, yeah, frustration, yeah. And it heals me a little bit, because I just think someone else has gone through it. And that's what I love about reading. Like, when you read a character that's gone through something that you have and you can relate, you're like, you know, like if you've ever felt trapped, like in a relationship with your parents, in a friendship, like anything, and you can relate, you sit there and you're like, fucking hell, I can relate. Or you sit there and you realise, shit, I have been put through that. I will not do it again because of how these characters have dealt with it. And I feel like that's what I wanted to include. But yeah, a lot of sass comes from me. One of my other friends, I gave it to my other friend from work, and she read it, and she was like, literally everything Nola says is something that you would say. And I was like, yeah, I put a lot of effort into Nola for the sass. But the male characters, I don't know, because they're sassy as well. And one in particular that you two absolutely adore, he lives inside of me. Like, I have not made him. He is real. He is real. Like, I can, sometimes the characters say things, I'm like, what the fuck? That was not on the rota. Like, stop saying that. You're not meant to say that. And they say it, and I think they're the best moments as well as a writer. Like, when you're writing and you're like, fuck, that was not meant to happen. And then it just happened. Like, I wrote a kissing scene with Theon and then deleted it. Because
I would have paid for that.
Yeah.
50p?
Anyway,
Bonus content?
50p.
You're gonna fucking have a tenner for that.
Yeah, and I took it out because I was like, that's not right. That's just not how he's working in this book. Maybe the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and yeah, you write scenes and they say things like, when they flirt, I'm like, fuck, I didn't know I had that in me.
You do have some riz, though. You do.
I not in real life though. In my books, so much riz, but in real life, I do not have any riz.
I don't know. You flirt with us a lot.
Okay, thanks.
But yeah.
I was gonna say, can you give us 2 songs that sum up your book?
Oh,
I'm curious.
That is a good one. Fuck. Okay. Shit, I really should have come prepared for that one, because that one's really good.
She really wasn't expecting this from us, was she, today?
I really wasn't expecting these questions to be this good. Anime. Enemy by who is it by? Is it Imagine Dragons?
Is that everybody wants to be
My enemy? Yeah, that one. And I would have to say a Billie Eilish one, but what Billie Eilish song? I have two in mind for Billie Eilish. Either You Should See Me in a Crown.
Okay.
Yeah. Or one from a new album. Chihiro.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of them. Them three. I listen to them on repeat. That Enemy one is so good when you're writing a fighting scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fitting. No, that's
yeah. It is very fitting, to be fair.
What is one of the most difficult parts of actually writing the book?
Remembering things that have happened. Yeah, it is. So, like, you know, like, so something's happened and it's happened on purpose for something to happen later in the book. Or you've done something and then nothing gets done with it. I honestly, sometimes I'm like, shit. Like, I'm rereading it. I'm like, fuck, I forgot about that. I actually need to put that in. Like, things have happened and I forget. Everyone forgets, like, whether it's your own book or not. When you read a book, you forget after a certain amount of time. And some things, that's why you have to write it down. But yeah, some things I forgot that I put in and then used to reading it. I'm like, oh, shit, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, sometimes you just forget things. I think that's the hardest part. Or like even eye colour. Sometimes you forget eye colour, and then you'll change their eye colour or the hair colour, and then you think, "Fuck, is that right?" And then you have to go back and make sure that it's right. So you always have to write it down.
Sounds stressful. I wouldn't want to... I've got a bad memory anyway, so
yeah, you need to write it down.
My memory's horrendous.
Yeah, write that shit down. Okay.
Can you give us a teaser from your book?
Ooh! What do you mean by a teaser?
Like maybe a sentence or two.
Have I got one? I ain't got. They're on my phone. It's on my phone.
I was gonna say you used to do it on your TikTok, didn't you?
Yeah, I do it on my TikTok.
You should link your TikTok so people can have a look because you've got a few, haven't you? I think.
Yeah, I do have a few on my TikTok. You'll have to scroll all the way down, but I do have a few on my TikTok. I had one. Yeah, in my old draft, I had one that I know off by heart, but I can't do it. But the last words of the first book are "Love always, book." They're the last words.
Always, book.
Yeah, as in book the character. B-U-C-K. Yeah.
Oh, but. Oh my god, your accent woman.
No, book.
I was like, this makes no sense. But
Love always, book, which is one of their guardians. And all I have to say is, don't get attached.
Why
You're about to break our fucking hearts.
Ames, where were you at in the book?
Not that fucking far, because everything keeps sidetracking me at the minute.
Okay,
I
think
first went in my book, and I was like,
I think it was 120 pages in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, literally, Buck had done something, and I was like, oh my god, I hate him right now. And then Abby was like, no, you don't. And then she was like, just hold on. And then I read it, and I was like, never mind, he's so sweet, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's a sweetheart. But yeah, a teaser would be, don't get attached. And maybe I'll even put one on the screen for you.
Yeah, if she hunts through, we can have one on the side.
Yeah, so you can see.
Wow.
That was a good one.
You went to that writers thing, didn't you? How was
Yes.
that? What was that like? Because obviously there was a lot of people there.
Yeah, well, I thought it's one of them things where you book and you think, fuck me, no one else is going to turn up. It's just going to be me.
As we chase Atlantic.
Literally, yeah. And it was so weird. I'd just seen it on TikTok, this event, and it was like, oh, it's in Manchester. I was like, I'm going to have to go. But I had to go on my own, and I hate doing stuff like that on my own because it's so vulnerable. Like, sharing your work is honestly so vulnerable. You won't understand until you actually do it, because at the event, it was an agency. So there's a difference between an agent and a publisher. The publisher, for example, like Bloomsbury, Penguin, all of them well-known ones, you never go to them. You always go through an agent, because the agent will then take you to the publishers because they need to believe in your work. That's how it happens. It used to be that you could go straight to the publishers, but it's not anymore. They've split it up into categories, and you normally go to an agent now, which is really important, and you have to find the right agent for you. Now, at this event, it really went through the process. So they were late because they come from London and they couldn't get up. But I spent a lot of time talking to other want-to-be authors. And I met this lovely girl. She really reminded me of Catherine Tate. She was so fucking funny. And I spent the whole night with her. And then other people came up and they were so weird. Like, this guy just came up to me and was like, oh my God, do you want to see my notebook? I've got all my ideas in my notebook. Handed me his notebook, and then I'm just reading it like, yeah, it's good. And then he goes, I can't write without having my hat on. And I was like, oh, Diego, was that you?
I was about to say Diego.
Yeah. He was like, I can't write without like my hat on. And I was like, oh. But I'm so talkative. And the girl I'd made friends with was like, fuck's sake. I kept asking questions like, oh, what kind of hat? He got his fucking hat out to show me and everything. Honestly, it was such a weird event. But then they came in, and you kind of there was 4 of them, and you kind of got to know the agents at the event. And one of them I absolutely fell in love with. Like, I adore her, but she's declined my work. She did say she really loved the character development and all of that, but the storyline just wasn't for her. Now, my storyline has changed since, but I don't know whether I'm going to go back to her and give her my work or not. I don't know. They're closed now for work right now because they've got too many. But YMU Literary, if you're looking for an agency, they're really, really good. They do events all the time, and they're really good. And Anna is who I sent my work to. I can say it. It's not a bad thing that she rejected me. She gave me really good feedback, and she made me feel really positive. But it just wasn't right for her. And one piece of advice I will give all of you is you have to find the right person, because, for example, a lot of my work is dark, like dark humour. If you don't have someone that likes dark humour or trauma dumping and then laughing about it, you're done. You're doomed. Like, they're not going to like your work. And that's just how it is. And I've gone to other publishers. So I've got agents. I've gone to 5 agents now, and 3 of them have rejected me. And every time I've never felt put down, because sometimes they don't respond at all. Agents don't, because they haven't got time or whatever. And they always respond to me, and it's always like really timely. I mean, YMU was like 6 weeks, which is still really good. And the others have been within like 2 weeks. If that, one of them was like 3 days, which is crazy, because for them to reply that quick, I mean, it was a rejection, but it wasn't like, no, you work shit and we don't want it. It was like, it's just not right for me. Which is fair enough. And you're going to get that a few times. And Alex Astor had that 100+ times, can we just say? And her work's insane. So let's just sit down. That's something that I always have in the back of my head. When someone rejects me, I'm like, everyone kept rejecting Alex Astor. Like, I just need to remember that. Same with J.K. Rowling. That 11 people rejected Harry Potter. I'm only 5 in. I need to get over myself. I'm okay with rejection.
I didn't know that about J.K. Rowling, though. Or
Yeah,
Rowling,
11 times.
Huh.
Big L to them.
I've still not bloody read Harry Potter, though.
No, I've never
upset.
watched the films.
I am upset with both of you, but I've literally got a Gryffindor scarf right there.
Yes.
Oh.
You and your buttons.
Guys, I don't know what I'm doing on this call. I don't know what I did before, but you should have seen it. I'm not doing it. I look a dick now. Next question.
In your opinion, what makes a great story?
Oh. I think there's a few
Silence.
elements.
Broad question.
That is a very broad question, but I have an answer. So I think there is 3 elements. Good writing style. Has to be a good writing style or no one's going to read it. Yeah. Good characters and character building. And a good storyline. Okay. You cannot have them 3 and have a good book. And not have a good... You can't not have them 3 and have a good book. You have to have all 3.
No, is there a book that comes to mind when you can think of one that doesn't have all three?
Oh.
I had one in my head. Yes, I will give you. This is very unfiltered from me because I love this book, Light Lark.
Really?
I love Light Lark, right? I love the characters. What was my other one? I like the plot. I love the plot. The writing style is very YA. Very, very YA. And I love her. I love that book, but I can't fully back that.
Sinead's like in shock.
Sinead's like, I'm
to
gonna
be fair,
fucking kill this bitch.
I knew she really struggled with like the intimacy scenes.
I did. That sounds silly, but I did.
But I don't know. I feel like it was just YA, and I feel like you're not YA like a reader.
Yeah, no, I'm obviously not, because that's weird. That would be weird. Because I'm an adult.
No,
but yeah.
I also think that Assassin's Blade from Sarah J. Maas is very childlike written.
Really? I love that book. That might be my favourite.
Yeah. I love the story. I love the whole Throne of Glass story, and I love the character. I can't get with the writing. I don't know what.
That's what I mean.
It's just that writing in Throne of Glass doesn't click with me.
If you don't have all three, you've got no story, and that is a fact. You could have the best smut romance in the world, but if there's no storyline, what the fuck am I reading for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just reading smut.
Character development.
Character development. I love when they're a proper bitch at the start and you hate them. And then they grow and they're so much better and you're like, shit, why did I ever hate them? They were so real for having that emotion. And that's what I mean. When you character build and you have the character's background and you're like, shit, why did I ever hate them?
Especially for enemies to lovers.
I truly think Aelin is one of the best written character developments that I've read.
100%. 100%.
Even though I don't like writing style, I still think her character development is just...
It's insane. It's the best. It's chef's kiss. It's the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
At the start, you're like, this fucking bitch will not do what she's told.
She's so fucking child. Like,
pisses me off.
Her a little bit.
Yeah.
You're like, she's high maintenance, and then you're like,
she is so high maintenance.
Yeah, and then you
contrast with that was with Sam, where she wouldn't let her use her soap, but with Rowan, and she let him use it.
Yeah,
I think that highlights like the character development to me.
That was your turning moment. But yeah, I mean, that concludes them questions. I mean, if you've got any more questions you want us to answer like that, then we can. I can go through the whole process of how to write a book if you want, and how to find the right agent for you, if you so please, because I feel like no one speaks about it. I feel like everyone gatekeeps.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and I don't get why. Like, if you think your work's that good, then no one else is gonna be able to copy you and get their work out there. Like, grow up. Don't gatekeep shit like that. Just give it out. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. If you want more, then let us know. But thank you for the good questions. They were really good.
We were on it.
Yeah, and you might.
Added.
Yeah, and you might not think we love each other, but I feel like this episode just shows how much we do love each other because of how we've been.
We're very proud of her.
We are.
And I'm proud of you too. It's not just me doing this. But yeah, so that concludes the end of this episode. And if you want more like this, then let us know. And we will see you later. Bye.
Bye.